I don't know why people want this disaster. Not the New York Giants. These live streams. People are like, you need to do more live streams. And I'm like, well, you know what's the problem is? I don't feel like doing them. So, I mean, if you want me to be perfectly honest, I like doing the Sunday one a lot because that's a lot of fun. So we're getting some news, of course, out of the New York Giants training camp today. And it's not good news. It's Tyrone Tracy Jr., of course, the running back. Looks like he has potentially a fractured ankle, maybe a fractured leg. We don't really have all the official details as of yet. I mean, yeah, I feel bad for the kid 100% because, you know, you're finally living your NFL dream. And then to lay it out on the practice field and to literally then, and then to literally have it potentially your season end, on the practice field, that sucks. Fucking sucks rocks. And it's one of those things that as an organization, you have to have depth. We have to have depth. And we've talked about this before. What's up? What's going on here? We got, let's do this. We also got Mr. Avery. Apparently Tyrone Tracy went down with a non-contact injury here. It's an air cast. They hurt the air. Evidently they rolled him out with the air cast. That's never a good thing because that's usually a fracture. It's a fracture. It's a break. You don't know exactly. I'm not sure 100% yet if we know if it's the ankle. We don't know if it's it could be the tibula. I mean, it could be anything. So to speculate fully until we get the full report is going to be, just going to be speculation. But as we talked about in the video the other day, and we talked about basically the title, the Giants are could potentially be, well, what's up, Tim? It's all good. It's lunchtime. Let's enjoy some lunch. We got Blackbird coming in. I'll say, good afternoon, Tim. I sprained my ankle on the same day as Neighbors. That's not a good omen. So evidently you two are somehow sympathetically connected. So we're going to wrap you in bubble wrap, Blackbird. But it's always about depth. We talked about this. We talked about this a million times. We talked about it we talked about the video the other day. Talked about it in the thumbnails today. We talked about it in the video 2 days ago, that even the title of this video, one bad break away. And the problem with that is we don't have depth. You're going to be relying on Motor Singletary. You're going to be relying on Eric Gray. You're going to be relying on Turbo. We just picked up another running back the other day off of waivers. So your running back room is light. There's Coors Light, there's Bud Light, there's Corona Light, and then there's New York Giants running back room light. And to think that your depth is going to be cured because Eric Gray, Dante Miller, and Tyrone Tracy had big yards against the Home Depot squad. I mean, that's crazy. You are literally basing your thought process on third, fourth, and fifth teamers for the Detroit Lions. And that's what these guys went up against. We saw what Eric Gray does when he goes up against actual competition. The burst just is not great enough. And I've said it before, if I'm the Giants, if you're going to keep Eric Gray, he's not an every down back, you are going to use him as a third down back because he can't catch the ball out of the backfield. Dante Miller, if you watch him run, if you even go back to watching him run in college, yes, all the speed in the world. That's why they call him Turbo. All the speed in the world. Problem is he's easily knocked off pace. He's easily knocked off his direction because of his slight build. So if you want to kick him to the outside, you want to throw a bubble screen, you want to run a jet sweep, you want to do something like that, that's fine. But he's not going to be an in the tackles guy. Maybe he can give you something on special teams. And Eric Gray and Miller and whomever, they're going to have to play special teams. You know, it's funny. I'm playing the new Madden. I know. Playing the new Madden today. And I thought I hated the new kickoff rule. Boy, I hate the new kickoff rule even more in Madden. So depth has always been the key in the NFL. And we've been kind of talking about how this 53-man roster is constructed. And don't forget the like. And the way this 53-man roster is constructed, well, we don't know yet because we're still in the Rule 51. But the way this roster is constructed, you have your front end guys, and some of your front end guys are maybe second level, third level guys on another team, that they're their depth, but we're relying on them, especially in the secondary. We're relying on these guys to be starters. So when one guy goes down, it's almost like an earth-shattering news. Normally, when a fifth round draft pick goes down with an injury in camp, it's not that big of a deal, because probably more likely beginning of the season, they were going to be depth pieces. And you hope as the season matured that they were going to find a rhythm and find a role. But on this team, it's like the end of the world. Go back to Corey Coleman from 4 years ago. Corey Coleman, wide receiver, punt returner, former first overall pick from the Cleveland Browns and a bunch of other teams. I think he played for the Patriots. He went down early in training camp. And I remember, and I did a video about it, and it says the world is not going to end because Corey Coleman's not going to play. The world seemed to end for the Giant fans because we lost Corey Coleman. And he showed a spark for like 2 games at the end of the previous season. But he was going to be nothing. He was nothing more than a depth piece and a punt returner on a good team. And the problem is this: I know we have Gunner. I know we already had a punt return. I know we have Gunner. Just remember, Gunner's been waived a couple times. So let's not put all of our eggs in the Gunner basket just yet. So it's still camp. I like to see some guys a little bit more move, a little bit more speed. What do we got here? Paul says first neighbors. Now Tracy, here we go again. We're not going again, guys. No. I see this. I see this bullshit. I'm not calling you bullshit, Paul. But I see this shit. Here we go again. Tyrone Tracy's down. Corey Coleman's down. Season's over. It's an injury to a 4th round pick or a 5th round pick. I forget what he is. It's an injury. And you got to feel worse for the kid and not the team, because if you are going to rely on a mid to late round draft choice as more than a depth piece on your roster, then you have problems positionally in the running back room. That's all you have to say. David said he saw the Giants were headed and he saved his life by getting himself injured. Hey, G-Man24 says, always good to see you. It's a good to see you too, G-Man11. Hope everything's going well. Blackbird, we're putting you in the bubble wrap. Neighbors might be my cousin. Well, I'm not going to get into Mike B's because there might be some paternity tests involved. Now we'll have to wait and see. Zach Attack finally makes it. I finally made it again because we're doing a lunchtime stream. Oh yeah, Slayer. Yeah, he got waived. Ryan Williams says, "Hey Tim, this is a very true. Giants have never had any depth, and every year it's the same drama with the organization that tells you what kind of management that they are." Shaking my head. That's the problem, though. It's depth. We are, and I'm not trying to be crazy about this. I'm not trying to be mean about this, but we are relying on depth pieces to be major contributors. Has Motor Singletary ever rushed for 1,000 yards in a season? Has Malik Neighbors caught a ball yet? I love someone that they told me on Twitter that this is the deepest wide receiver room the Giants have ever had. Okay, all you really did was subtract Waller and add Neighbors. So you still have Robinson, you still have Hyatt, you still have Slayton, still have Hodgins. They're the same guys from last year. You have to hope that Hyatt has figured out how to get off the line of scrimmage and not get knocked off his routes, because that was his biggest issue last year. Yes, he had opportunities that he was open and the quarterback just didn't see him or didn't throw the ball. But he also had like a 51% catch percentage. So he's got to hold on to the ball. He's also got to figure. I've said this before, when we drafted him, I thought it was going to be Devontae Smith. I thought he was going to use because of his slight build, I thought he was going to use his speed and his quickness to get around the corner, to not get bumped at the line, to not get knocked off his routes. And he didn't do that. He had his moments where he did get around guys. Either the quarterback missed him or he dropped the ball. So it's the same guy. Isaiah Hodgins is the same guy. Darius Slayton's the same guy. Wando Robinson, we're all expecting in year 3, like year 6 of Daniel Jones, for Wando Robinson to be this something that he may not be. So and then you're already limited at the tight end position, but this is the deepest wide receiver room the Giants has had in years, I'm hearing. but all you did was add neighbors. So the depth pieces from last year and part of the year prior are still here. Someone needs to explain that to me. Oh, we're already had a punt return. No, we got the gunner. Nick says, what's going on? A long time. Yeah, Nick, it's been a long time. Well, because we're going to try to do some afternoon streams. I don't like doing nighttime streams. It's a whole got a family thing. Mr. Alvarez says, some Giant fans believe Tracy and the number 2 undersized running backs will make up the production Saquon by himself. I don't think so. Motor Singletary is a good player. Devin Singletary is a good player. Is he going to be that every down bell cow back that you need in this league? He's only 26 years old. He's rushed for 4,000 yards. He's been in the league since 19. The most yards he had was with the Texans when he had 8, which was last year. He had 800 and almost 890 something yards. And he barely went over 4. I think it was like 4-1 or 4-2, and only had 4 touchdowns. And this was on a good Texans team. Before that, he had the most amount. That was the most amount of carries he had at 216. Prior to that, the most amount of carries he had was like 188 or 189 or something like that. So he's not going to be that bell cow back. If you're going to rely on him to carry the load at 5'7", 200 pounds, it's like it would be like asking, going back in the Giants lore a little bit, it would be like asking Dave Meggett to substitute 24/7 for OJ Anderson. Just not going to happen. Yeah, we've had small running backs in the past. We had Joe Morris, who was 5'7", but Joe Morris was like, I forget how much Joe Morris weighed. I mean, Joe Morris was like, remember Joe Morris was 5'7". I remember that. And I think Joe Morris, though, was because you got to remember, Joe Morris was like a little bit of a running, he looked like a cannonball. He was almost 200 pounds, I believe Joe Morris was. But he was built stout to the ground. And of course, he had 1 or 2 big seasons. He had the 2 really big seasons for the Giants, and then it kind of tailed off a little bit. So you're going to be relying on a guy that has never carried the mail before 24/7. And then you're going to back him up with the likes of Eric Gray, who's going into year 2, who showed no burst in year 1 outside of catching the ball. And Turbo, not the snail, Ryan Reynolds, Mint Mobile, online Big Blue. I should say mintmobile.com, Big Blue. $15 a month. Go get it. But I just don't see it. Evan says, I feel bad for the kid, but the problem is we have barely any depth. And that's always going to be the problem with this team. It's going to be the depth. We have been talking about this since they constructed this roster. Hit the like button, guys. We have been talking about this since this roster was constructed. There is no one behind. You lose a linebacker. You lose Okereke. You're screwed. You could say Jones and everyone else looks great in camp, but again, these are against guys. Let me see when you play against the first teamers. You lose Deontay Banks. I did a video about it. Yes, you lose Banks, you're fucked because you got nothing behind him. You have to hope to God that Adoree Jackson wants to come back and play with you, even though he says he wants to play for a contender. You lose Pinnock. You're going to have the likes of a rookie and Dane Belton, and you already have Dane Belton. Dane Belton should not be starting as a safety in any team in any league. Even in the Canadian League, he should not be starting as the safety position. No, no, good dear God, no. And I love his attitude when he's mixing up with St. Brown, who burned him all camp. So I'm gonna knock the ball out of his hand. Show how tough I am because the Giants got fight. They got dog in them. I liked it when we were dirt bags. Everyone loved that. We're offensive line. We're dirt bags. How about we stay away from the fucking nicknames and just play some football? How about we do that? Ryan says they will get people off the couch to play. Someone gets hurt. That's what the Giant organization has turned into. Yeah, it's going to be the whole Justin Pugh thing. That's the thing. And Justin Pugh was terrible. Gave up 10+ sacks. Gave up the most amount of sacks in a short period of time. But everyone loves Justin Pugh off the couch. That's all they remember. Not how horrid he was. Now he almost got his quarterback killed multitudes of times. What's up, Mr. Sanders? It's all good. Mr. Roberts says, I hate this because this is the built-in excuse for the fans. It's always been the built-in excuse for the simple reason because you need an excuse. We need a boogeyman. We need a Baba Yaga. We need someone to blame. It's not what you did, son, that vexes me. It's who you did it to. What? That nobody? That nobody was John Wick. We need a boogeyman. John was the one you sent to kill the fucking boogeyman. That's what we need. We need something that we could say it's no one's fault. It's not management's fault. It's not ownership's fault. It's not the player's fault. It's not the draft pick's fault. It's not bad free agency. It's none of that. It's because of the fact that it's always injuries. Good teams step up and find talent to back up positionally so you don't use injuries as an excuse. Zach Attack says, watching old XFL kickoff 2003 to the NFL kickoff 24 somehow made it worse. You know what? The XL kickoff, I thought the XL kickoff sucked, but this kickoff, like I said, I'm playing Madden. I got the early release shit. I'm playing Madden a little bit this morning. I like the college football 2025 better, but I'm playing Madden. And I love it because of the fact I'm looking at the kickoff going, God, I fucking hate this. We need players to practice in a bubble wrap. We just talked about that. We're going to put Blackbird McKnight in bubble wrap because evidently he's some Podico relationship with the Malik neighbors because they both sprained their ankle at the same time. For those that do not know, FanFest still has tickets available. That was a little surprising to me. I got my tickets as a season ticket holder, but FanFest still has tickets available. So make sure you go to that. Nick says, we need to play. You think the starters play Saturday. Nick, astute question. You want to know why, Nick? Because I did a video about that says what the Giants should do but won't do. And that's play your starters. The Texans did it. Threw that cap down. Jaguars did it. Steelers did it. All these good playoff teams and not good playoff teams played their starters. Titans played Will Levis almost in the entire first quarter. They played their guys. We've said this before. When you had 5 preseason games, when you cut it down to 4, first preseason game, I know I'm old. I love this person on Twitter. I love the people on Twitter. I didn't know if you go on Twitter and like you type in like online Big Blue and you go, I forget what tab it is, but then all this shit pulls up that people say about you. It's fucking cool, man. People don't like me. Oh no, people don't like me. And this is why I'm wearing the shirt today. But they don't like me. But back in the day, we had 4 preseason games. I'm not going to get into the old timers when we had 5. First preseason game, you played your guys maybe 2 series. Second preseason season game, you played your guys the first quarter. Third preseason game, you played sometimes some of your guys all the way into the start of the third quarter. Then fourth preseason guys, you just rested everybody. You have to build continuity. You cannot worry consistently and constantly about injuries, but we do that because we have no depth. Be bold and mighty forces will come to your aid, but it's not about being bold. It's about building a relationship and building a familiarity with your players. You can't do that in practice to a point because of the fact that you're always going up against the same guys. You need to do it against different competition. The Texans did it last year as well. And I always use the Texans as a great example for a franchise that turned everything around in a season by drafting well, by drafting a stud quarterback and a stud defensive lineman in the same draft. And they understood the importance of playing these guys because they needed to build continuity. They needed to be familiar with certain routes that are being run. The Giants haven't done this for years. The offense had played 1 series last year against the Carolina Panthers. And to this day, I laugh. I think they took everyone off the field because Daniel Jones almost got Waller decapitated. So if Daniel Jones is cleared to play and is full practice, full board, put him in the fucking game. He had I don't know what he did today, but he had a shitty practice yesterday. Put him in the game. Get him rolling. See what he has. Don't just play him a series, play him a half. What do we got here with the big Zach Attack with the super chat coming in saying Sims should be in the booth all season on WFAN. I don't know. I love Phil. I mentioned this the other day. Was at the game. Phil, I was at the game. Where was everybody else? There's fucking me. Where did everyone else go? Were they all home because they were afraid of the rain? I came after watching that train wreck because it was a bad game. It was a bad game. I mean, Giants won, but it was still a really bad game. Not a very well played game, not a well executed game. But I come home, and I watched a rebroadcast, and Phil Simms was fucking awesome. Phil Simms was phenomenal. He was the anti-Carl Banks. Carl Banks makes the excuses. Phil Simms told truth. And I know he signed, I think on NY1. Phil Simms did. I know he's going to be the Giants something somewhere, but I'm hoping to God he's doing the whole season. I really do hope to God he is. Let's see here. Where we go. Here we go again. C. Sanders says, well, here we go again. Just down watching the press conference. The O-line cannot stay healthy, and Evan Neal is playing with the twos. Well, at least Evan Neal isn't making number twos. Hey, it's still early. I think they're gonna ride Evan Neal like Zorro. I think they're gonna try to get something out of him. I think they're gonna do that whole. I think they're gonna do the whole Evan Neal thing with the whole you need to earn your spot, showcase what you can do. I think that's what they're gonna do with Evan Neal. To be honest. What's up, Big Al? What's up, me? Can we get an oh no, here we suck again. We are anointing a wide receiver like he's the production of OBJ based on potential. Same with Maben, Burns, and others. My only thing with Neighbors is, and I posted on Twitter today, after the ankle injury, and I love it because I love when Brian Dable came out and said, well, it's not fractured. Well, no one asked that. I was concerned for a second, like, did they think it was fractured? But every article I read was about Neighbors, and it was about how Neighbors is Daniel Jones's weapon. And I'm thinking to myself, and they all just referred to him as Blake Neighbors, Daniel Jones's weapon. Thinking to myself, this is his own. He's going to get tired of this quick. I already know Neighbors. From Neighbors' personality, from what you've seen, he's going to get tired of that quick. You know what it is? It's Rocky Balboa with Tommy Gunn. It's Rocky's robot. And look what happened when he went up against Union Kane. Oh. Don't worry, guys. Carson Beck will save us in 2025. Or it's going to be Archie Manning Jr. It's gotta be one of the Mannings. Lord knows. Hyatt dropped a lot of passes last year. Remember in 2020 when Colin Johnson got hurt in training camp? A lot of fans thought Colin Johnson. I forgot about Colin Johnson out of Texas. Again, he came in at the end of the season, had an okay last couple of games, and was going to be relied upon about being the savior. Yeah, that's. Tim, I hate to tell you this, but the season was over before it even started. Hey-oh. Imagine Eli with Neighbors. I did. It was called Eli with OBJ. Smash that like, says Big L. Zach says, the Giants are built like a Madden online franchise. I just get worried that this is all cap related. And in year 3 of the Shane regime, I know Shane came over and took over a pretty shitty cap situation, but he also didn't help his cap situation. He signed Daniel Jones. He signed Andrew Thomas. He signed Dexter Lawrence. He signed Lawrence and Thomas way too close together. I don't know why he did that to this day. You had flexibility with the 5th-year option and everything else. I don't know why he did what he did. He then, he tried to double down on Saquon Barkley. He made the bad move for Waller. Jones
to Waller, first down.
I was just thinking about this. I had to play that. I would like some apologies. Please. I told everyone the Waller move was going to be horrid and it was going to backfire. And then we were taking in a 31, soon to be 31-year tight end, 2 years removed from his best seasons at $10 million a year guaranteed. And this was a recipe for disaster. And such a large segment of the Giant fan base told me again, you know nothing about what you're talking. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about, Tim. You don't know football. I forget. Where's Waller now? I struggled to like Carson Beck. I soured on him. One of the first videos I saw about him in 2025 quarterback, the analyst compared him to Daniel Jones. Good. Sadie says, Giants coming out said ankle injury. Tracy is going to be hospital for further tests. Well, when they roll, I'm going to tell you right now, when they roll out the cart and the air cast, it's at least it's usually a fracture minimum. In my mind, if you put it in an air cast, it's probably a break. Because that's what the air cast is designed for. Back in the old days, they didn't have air casts. Well, they had air casts, but they didn't use back in my day. Back in the Stone Age when I played, I broke my forearm, and I still can't bend it. I broke it right down. I broke it literally right in the middle. I heard the crack, and I love it because no air cast, no cart. I had to hold my arm like this and walk off the field. And go to the hospital. I love how medicine has changed. If Pennock and Banks go down, the secondary is essentially a glorified practice squad. No, you're not wrong. Belton knocked the ball out of Brown's hands for no reason. He did, for no reason except to start shit, and you're not good. Dane Belton, you got benched 2 years ago in the Texans game because you don't know your assignments. You didn't get back on the field till a year later because of injuries. You got gifted 2 interceptions, and then you were on the trailer on 5 consecutive pass touchdown plays. But he's the savior. He's Xavier McKinney. I feel like the Giants are stuck in a rebuild, and they're trying to live off the 22 season. We need to pick a lane and follow the plan. Picking a lane and following the plan is the best idea. Joe Shane's drafts, the last 2 not been stellar outside of Banks. We don't know. And you could say McFadden, but McFadden also had the highest missed tackle percentage for his position. Hasn't been great. I don't know what this class is going to do. Schmitz is still bouncing with injuries. And I know John Michael Schmitz was last year. I know that. But it's almost, Nick, it's a very succinct way to put it. Pick a lane. Are you in a full rebuild? Are you trying to win now? Are you going to spend your money on big names? Or are you going to build through the draft, augment through free agency? People ask, where'd all the cap money go? Ask Brian Burns. He'll tell you. It's in his bank account. Said it before. Good move. Value-wise for what you got him for. Good move. NFL Network said it. I didn't. But then the Giants gave him $140 million for an 8-sack guy who can't play the run. And then you have a carbon copy of Kayvon Thibodeau. So, I mean, it's I don't know. They do have to pick a lane. They really do. Because having one player go down as a rookie, as a mid-round draft choice, and then people are so concerned about that, that's just silly to me. He should be a depth piece. He should be a guy that should be starting. He should be a guy that comes in every once in a while, Singletary. Maybe catches a couple balls. Maybe gets 10 snaps a game. Plays special teams. We shouldn't be like, oh my God, Tracy's gone. It's Corey Coleman all over again. Never mess a man. Never mess with Dan's dog in her car. You're right. Let's see here. Non-Russians pretending to speak Russians is cringe. They pronounce Baba Yaga. Come on, don't you dare knock John Wick. Don't you dare knock John Wick. He's John Wick. He's Baba Yaga. Speaking of all the couch, thanks to all the Jones contracts, people can only afford to get people off the couch. Tim, who's your Madden team? Who's your Madden team, Tim? No, I don't know yet. I literally I booted it up. I loaded it last night, and I booted it up this morning. And I actually played. I played Jacksonville versus the Texans this morning. So I haven't picked a team yet. Like I said, I like college football 25 a lot. What's going on, my brother? Everything's going good here. Hope you're doing well. Welcome aboard as always. Daniel Jones must play Saturday and more than one drive. Daniel Jones has to. He's got to come out and at least play 3. He's got to do what they did with CJ Stroud. They got to do what they did with Trevor Lawrence. They got to do what they did with Justin Fields. You got to do with what they did with all these Will Levis. You got to do what they did with all these other guys. You got to let him play. You have to let him play. If he is cleared for practice, you cannot be scared to put him out there. Denny slow processor duds. I still love you, man. I just love it every time. And Daniel Jones still stinks. Doesn't even feel like they've committed to a full. They really haven't. I don't get it. Strip it down. If you committed to a full rebuild, you don't make the Burns trade. Because you got the same player on the other side of the line. You needed a pass rusher, yes. We've said it before. Watch Hard Knocks. First thing that in that first defensive meeting, Joe Shane asked Shane Bowen, what players do you need? 2 linebackers. How about Brian Burns? He asks Daves, if you could have any player, any position on this team that will make this team better, what position would it be? Offensive lineman. What about Brian Burns? It's like he had Brian Burns stuck in his head. Yeah, it may make your pass rush better, but your pass rush better be good because your defensive coordinator only likes to rush 4. And you don't have a secondary that can play man-to-man outside of Banks. And if you're going to go Tampa 2, bend not break, you're going to break a lot. Because we have a propensity and tendency, some of these guys, even Pinnock, to miss assignments. There has been more than a year of history of some of these guys missing assignments and missing them bad. You have a division that you have to play Jalen Hurts twice, Dak Prescott twice, and hopefully Jaden Daniels isn't what people think he's going to be. Because then you got 6 games against 3 guys that could make you go 0-6. If the team shows no progress in 25-26, I'm on full on board for a complete 25-20. Gabriel, hope you were kidding about that. I really do hope you're kidding about that. They should play Jones. If they don't, they will have the injury as the built-in excuse not to play him at all. They will say we have to treat him the first for a few likes his preseason. I hope to God we don't hear that. I hope to God we do not hear in 2024. We are not going to know what this team is until the first couple weeks of preseason, first 5 weeks of the season. Hope to God we don't hear that again. You could have had Ryan Poles. You see the job he's doing. I wanted Ryan Poles. That was my guy. That was my choice. It's amazing how after I haven't seen. I don't know if the other episode. I think the other episode of Hard Knocks is today. It's amazing how the after one episode of Hard Knocks, I sat there and I watched it and says, yes, sustained ankle injury undergoing further imaging. I watched that first episode of the Bears Hard Knocks. I was like, oh my God, we look like a circus. We look like a clown show. Maybe the Bears were just better at editing what they wanted people to see. G-Man 2011 says, which players are the most excited to see in the entire NFL season? I can't wait to see Jaden Daniels can do. You know, it's funny. It's the quarterbacks for me. I can't wait to see what Jaden Daniels does, J.J. McCarthy, and Penix. Because at one point in time, or in Justin Fields, because at one point in time, we may potentially play all those guys. Jaden Daniels looks really good against the Jets starting defense. He really did. He had that nice 4-yard touchdown run. Hey, Tim, you think, let's see, there's a good move. The Giants draft wide receiver Burns in the third round. No, I don't need another wide receiver. I need a quarterback. I've said this before a million times. Outside of Mark Bavaro, and don't anyone say Stephen Baker, because you will get wonked. Outside of Mark Bavaro, who was the massive wide receiver Phil Simms had in his 33,000 plus yards, 199 touchdown career, won Super Bowl, and was going to do the other Super Bowl in 90? Who was the big wide receiver? 86. It was Bavaro. Bobby Johnson, Lionel Manuel, Stacy Robinson, Byron Williams. You had Tom Melody at one point and Zeke Mowat at the tight ends. Mike Sherrard? Was that Thomas Lewis? Mark Ingram? Name me a guy that left the Giants after leaving Eli Manning and had a career. I can name a couple that left Daniel Jones and had a career. Name me the wide receivers. Tom Brady's first couple Super Bowls. A good quarterback, a good defense, and a good running game can bring you a long way. Your quarterback is supposed to elevate the play of the people around him, especially the position players. You're supposed to elevate them. Elevate and enhance. Can you say going into year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Daniel Jones has done that? Ask yourself an honest question. I'm convinced Mara is using DJ as the bridge quarterback until Archie Manning comes out. Or maybe the Giants reach on a quarterback in another weak quarterback class a la 2019. I am concerned right now that the quarterback class in 2025 is not that great. I am concerned that the Giants may potentially or possibly reach. But don't worry, we have used car salesman Joe Shane. So what you're saying is you want 3 number ones. So if I say a 1 this year and a 1 next year, that won't do it. Well, I gave it my best shot. Oh, well. How about Brian Burns? Hyatt's best games was without Jones. Same thing. Wandale Robinson's best games were without Jones. Kadarius Toney's best games. Whoa, the New York Joneses will win 6 games if they're lucky. I think Seattle was pissed off at the Giants for giving them Leonard Williams in the trade, so they got a losing streak until the Eagles game when the Eagles beat themselves. Joshua agrees. I don't know what we agree with, but I'm there. I agreed with the Burns contract being unnecessary at the time in a rebuild. You would rather have signed multiple cheap guys on a short-term deal than a huge deal for a non-elite player. You could have, for the Burns money, you could have brought back McKinney at 24 years old and a 26-year-old running back. And you could say to me, Tim, I don't want to bring back Saquon Barkley. That would be okay. Because if you're truly in a rebuild, it was like when Gettleman drafted Barkley. It didn't make any sense. But if you're in the middle of a true rebuild, you don't need a stud running back. If you have a 24-year-old safety who potentially could be in the top 2 in the league, and you have him and he's homegrown, he's a guy that when you get good, he could still be good, if not great. However, after just revealing the misdiagnosis for Neal, I imagine they'll be extra careful. The whole Evan Neal thing is just, I'm not even going to get into the Evan Neal thing because the medical staff sometimes just makes me shake my head. Joe Shane had so much money to work with after the first year, somehow hamstrung himself in cap space, Mr. $10 million operational cap space. What a smoke steak salesman. I would like to say this right off the bat. Joe Shane came out a couple years back and used the term operational cap space. Never really heard that term used before, and then he used it. I've been using it for years because I heard it in 2003, but I haven't really heard that term before. So, Joe, you owe me a nickel every time you use the word operational cap space. I feel like that's what they've done. They are clearly going to be aggressive team. I hope they're going to be aggressive. I know they're not going to be an aggressive team this year. Your off defensive coordinator outside the Jim Schwartz years has had horrid pass defenses and relies on a 4-man rush and a Tampa 2 style defense to generate his pass rush. He only blitzes like 25% of the time. It's not going to be Wink. You have to. It would have been great to have Burns with Wink. Kayvon Thibodeau, Burns, they look like, they sound like. But and I've said this before, what happens when both of them have one of those games? Because they usually have about 4 or 5 of those games a year. No tackles, no sacks. No solo tackles, no sacks. What happens then? What are we going to say then? And I was asking James Williams this question. Let's say, just for the fun of it, we lose against Dallas because we couldn't get a stop, and neither of these guys had a sack or a solo tackle, and Daniel Jones played horrible. What are we going to say? What is the fan base going to say then? I loved it before. I forgot who said it. Pick a lane. It's not that hard. You're either in a rebuild, tear the shit down, stop spending money, draft well, trade, get assets, build through the draft, augment through free agency. And then you don't have to worry if a Tyrone Tracy fractured his leg or broke his ankle. You don't have to worry about that because you have depth. When your depth is your starters or your depth is being relied upon to have a large role on this team, you have drafted a safety and a corner in Phillips and Newman, and you're potentially relying on both of them starting. You are relying on Cordell Flott or Darnay Holmes to be your other starting corner against Deontay Banks. You are relying on Dane Belton. What's up, OG? I agree. Mr. Burns says Hard Knocks highlights his intellect with Shane. Joe Shane seems like he was trying to out Mara. Only thing I didn't like about the Brandon Burns things, Brandon Brown thing, is the fact that it's almost like, and it's not just Brown. It's like Shane doesn't listen to anybody. Shane wants your opinion, but he doesn't want you to give him. He doesn't want you to give him your opinion because he already has. He already thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. And when you get pumped up listening to Beyonce, not gonna say anything. Who keeps texting me? This is gonna be another bad season, guys. Get a flu shot early. Let's see here. Shane should make it easier for Turber to make the 53-man. The dude has big play capability every time he touches the ball. The only problem is, Josh, go back to his college days. He gets knocked off. He gets knocked down easy. He gets spun around and rerouted easy. But speed to burn, man. But you can't go. Look at Al Davis and the Raiders. Al Davis drafted speed all the time. When he had Daryl the Mad Bomber LaMonica, he just went on and found speed. But speed does not always translate. Look at the likes of Ronaldo Nehemiah. He's got a perfect skill set to change a pace backs. He's going to get knocked off his route so much. Jersey Banner says, sup, Tim? Year 6 of Dan Jones. It's like we're going to go to a casino hoping to hit the jackpot, and it never happens. OG Naka says, Joe Milton, Bo Nix, they played well. Not turned out to be good in the league because the Giants will see even more delusional and foolish. Joe Milton looked good. Bo Nix outplayed everybody. Bo Nix looked really good. But again, it's preseason. It's a preseason game. Any update on Tracy? Tracy right now, he went off with an air cast. They carted him off. They are taking more results. Usually we put on an air cast, it's either some type of fracture or break. It's either probably a ankle or a tibula. They're not going to see JJ. He's going out with he's not going to see JJ. He's going out with a torn meniscus. I did not know he tore his meniscus. JJ McCarthy tore his meniscus. Vikings will hold out practice. JJ going to turn a knee surgery after tearing, reveals tear to meniscus. The only thing with tearing a meniscus is, I'll be done on one. The only thing about tearing a meniscus is I tore my meniscus and my mid meniscus. It is like a microfiber surgery. So you could literally come back from that in 2-3 weeks. Depending on the severity of the tear. So that sucks. Why'd you have to say that? We should have taken Bo Nix. He will be a good quarterback with the right coach. I don't know what to see Chris Callaway. Yeah, that's true. Deion Jones has never force-fed a wide receiver or never fed a force-fed a wide receiver or tight end. He's going to be Richie James. I knew there was something coming. I knew there was one coming. Timothy says, Tracy undergoing will Tracy? I don't know yet. I can't tell. I can't tell you how the severity of the break. Sometimes you also just put the air cast on as a precaution. So it could be a fracture. He could be back mid-season. You never know. We're not going to see there. He's going to be out with a torn meniscus. Yeah. Like I said, meniscus tears itself. Like I said, meniscus tears. It depends on the severity of the tear. And the only way they're going to know is once they go in. I got them behind me still. I've showed my MRIs before. I can show you the meniscus tears. We should have had Travis Hunter on our first pick. He would help us out on both sides of the ball when needed. He's a great wide receiver and corner. That's a bridge QB to show what the team really is. The Packers will love. The Packers are going to love having Xavier McKinney. Outside of him having a little bit of an attitude, he seems like a great guy. Heard that the same argument made about Phil Simms the first 6 years of his career, wanted to replace him with Jet Rutledge or Bruner, all negatives at the time. Well, I'm going to have to stop you here, Dennis, because you're fucking completely wrong about Phil Simms. There's Phil Simms right here. Let me give you a little history on Phil Simms, my brother. They never wanted to replace him with Jet Rutledge. Phil Simms drafted in 1979 out of Morehead State. Surprise pick. It was also told the fact that if he was still in the 4th or 5th round that the 49ers were going to take him instead of Joe Montana, but the league was shocked when Pete Rozelle walked up to the microphone and said, Giants select quarterback, Phil Simms, Morehead State. Phil Simms in 1979 was the runner-up for the Offensive Rookie of the Year, lost out to O.J. Anderson, had his bad 80 season like every other quarterback usually does, a sophomore slump. 81, he was leading the team to the playoffs until he had the injury. Scott Bruner came in, had that magical run in the Joe Danello kick against Dallas. We also beat the Eagles in the playoffs and everything else. Lost to the San Francisco 49ers. Phil Simms came back in that strike-shortened 82 season, was playing well again, got hurt. Also came back and he got benched in 1983 by the head coach, Bill Parcells. Bill Parcells says that is one of the biggest mistakes that he had ever made in his life because he listened to everyone else and should have started Phil Simms over Scott Bruner. But he was a first-time head coach and he listened to everyone else. And he said back in 1984 with Phil Simms that if he got the opportunity to coach the Giants again, Parcells, that he was going to do it his way. 1984, Giants go 9-7, make the playoffs, and Phil Simms throws for first New York Giant, throw for over 4,000 yards, lead them to the playoffs with 22 touchdowns, and the rest is NFL history. Get your fucking facts straight before you come in here. I miss Wink. Truth. Hey, everyone, says Skyline. Even if it's a weaker class, I've already started with my list of quarterbacks in next year's draft just in case. And actually, Jeff Rutledge came in to spell him in 83 because of the fact that the Phil Simms injury, because he broke his thumb on an Eagle helmet after going for 7 for 13, after he replaced an ineffective Bruner again. Come in correct. Know your history. This ain't one of those channels, dude. It's not one of those channels. McCarthy has a torn meniscus. Breaking news, won't see him in week 1. Yeah, we got that. Holmes is trash. Breaking news, J.J. McCarthy, a torn meniscus on right knee. 4 to 6 leaves, according to Kevin O'Connell. Let's see here. Jones's best game is without Jones. I was just about to say that. Zach Josh says, I'm calling it now. The Steelers have a crap season. The Steelers are just doing okay. They will move Justin Fields and will run to trade the Giants at the trade deadline. Mm-hmm. You really can't bring in a quarterback that late because it's really not, unless they're going to do a Joshua Dobbs, they're not effective. They're not going to be that effective. Preseason and training camp must take a grain of salt. I agree. Well said. Let's see here. New York Joneses were blamed for everyone but Jones for sucking. Mr. Roberts says McKinney's attitude was probably came from the fact that he was playing on a trash team. Of course, what's Danny had to say? You all know, not drafted DJ. We could have had Brian Burns or Josh Allen and even taken a quarterback much better. Why'd you bring that up? Phil Simms was benched, only got back because the others got hurt. Phil was benched and only got back because no. Learn your fucking history, please. Phil Simms is my all-time favorite Giant. Gritty, competitive, fun interviews. The Steelers will be 9-8 as usual. Strider says, very concerned about the depth. I will pray we have a playoffs, good season, and make the playoffs. Also, Brian Burns Steely, highly questionable. Zach Attack also says, do you think any starters is hurting the teams? Do you think not playing? I do think not playing starters hurts the teams. Zach, we did a whole fucking video about it. Come on, Zach Attack. We did a whole freaking video about it. People like to snippet my some things I say in the live stream. Someone should snippet the Phil Simms thing. That was great. All off of here. Because I lived it. Any chance the Bills blow it up, aka Josh Allen become available? No. No. They just had that one wide receiver go down the other day. They got Keenan Coleman out of went out of Florida State. So Josh Allen makes people better. I know it's a preseason, but Bo Nix still has performed better than we have thought. It's preseason. I can't get overly excited, and I can't get overly concerned about certain players. I mean, but yes, Bo Nix had a great game. Jaden Daniels looks off. Jaden Daniels looked awesome against the Jets, that first team. You got a lot of guys that look really good. But like I said, a lot of it is against the Home Depots. And to the person that I offended by calling the players Home Depots, you understand that the graduation rate for a 4-year scholarship player in college football is like 38%. They're where I don't remember the guy's name, but you know that, right? Because he's like, yeah, these guys aren't going to be working at Home Depot. They're going to be like working like Charles Schwab and all this places because they all have degrees. It's like graduation rate's like 38% for a 4-year scholarship player. I've only seen Eli and Danny at quarterback. I've seen them all. I go back to Craig Morton. Oh, dear Lord, Craig Morton. Told that story a million times. My grandmother gave me a Craig Morton jersey for Christmas. I cried. I literally cried. Here in Pittsburgh area, people want Tomlin. People are stupid in Pittsburgh. We want a Coughlin gone. Look where we've been since we got rid of Coughlin. Yo, Tim, remember when Kayvon lit up Jalen Hurts? Oh, you saw that pick, please? I think I might have gotten rid of that pick. Oh, my God. Did I get rid of that pick? That is probably one of my favorite picks. I think I got rid of that pick. Oh, didn't. There you go. That'll always you know what? I cannot get rid of that pick ever. Because that's the greatest pick. That is the greatest photo ever. It's being blocked by a 4-foot quarterback. I know he's not 4 feet. Let's see here. As a giant. No, I understand what you meant. Let's see here. Zach says, I don't understand why people hate the Falcons pick with Penix. Because you spent all that money on Kirk Cousins. But the brilliance of that move is if Kirk Cousins isn't ready to play or Kirk Cousins get hurt, you have a plug-and-play quarterback who looks the part. Now, looking the part and playing the part are two different things. Problem is Daniel Jones has never looked the part, and he doesn't play the part. Let's see here. Blackbird says, I agree. Josh Allen makes his team better. Stanley says, hey, Tim, I think the Giants might be 9-8 this season. Are we playing 47 games? Or are we still playing 17? Bo Nix equals Jaden Daniels. I don't know about that yet. I can't give you that. I have the Giants at 9-10 wins. Well, Blackbird, you are very you are very passionate. I'm not giving a win total yet because I have no idea because we're still at week 1, but I don't see a playoff team. I said that last year. I didn't give a win total last year, and I said it last year. I didn't see a playoff team. I know it's preseason. What do you think of Tyler Nubin knocking down a lineman? It was cool to see, but I'm going to get into. So here's the thing about that. Here's my thing about Tyler Nubin knocking over the offensive lineman. It's a lot easier to knock over an offensive line when you have a 7-yard running head start. And it's a guy, again, that's going to be working at BJ's because he's probably not going to be in the league. I would have liked to have seen it better if you said, what about that pass Tyler Nubin knocked down? What about that way he rocked that tight end in the secondary? Did you see him covering that running back? That makes me excited. A single highlight play does not make me excited. Clowney over in South Carolina blew up that running back. That was the proverbial highlight play of his career in college. It propelled him to heights that he probably shouldn't have been at because of that play. While he's had a good career, he has never come close to the highlight of his career. So let's hope that's not Tyler Nubin's highlight. That's all I got to say about that. I saw the Ralph V said DJ's deal is looking like a bargain. I saw that. That's why he's an idiot. $45 million for 1-5 and 2 touchdowns last year. That's a bargain. Listen, give me $32 million. I think I can get you 2 touchdowns. I'm going to save you some cap space. I saw he was helping the Raiders. I actually posted that on Twitter at the time. Coughlin's helping the Raiders. I love it because I've seen this about Daniel Jones' deal being a bargain at $45 million. Just because better quarterbacks are getting more money than him, better playoff quarterbacks are getting more money than him because of the market doesn't make it look like a better deal. I always laugh because people ask me, Tim, your channel seems big enough. Even these small channels have like writers from the Giants and people and things from the Giants come on, and they have on their show. How come you don't ever? Because because I call people idiots. And people have asked and I've just turned them down because it's like, it's just not, I'd rather talk to you guys. It's not my thing to have other people on besides like James and T-Brad and people that one day we might. I had someone contact me the other day that giant. I'm not going to say who yet because I'm still deciding. Very nice job. And he wanted to come on. And I said, well, let me think about it. It was giant show. Like, oh yeah, let's have him on. My dumbass. Let me think about it. I'll see. A little busy. I got to go weld a plate on a rust spot in the back of my truck. So I got shit going on in my life. Kirk Cousins is robbing the Falcons. Yep, he is. Don't forget Kirk Cousins hurt. Penix might be ready. Blackbird, I put my fan hat on. I love that. Blair says 9-8. Lol. Hooker ran over Newbin. I was going to bring that up as well, that Hendon Hooker did run over Newbin, but we don't see that play. Hey, Tim, Pittsburgh Steelers will be at the Chiefs and go to the Super Bowl. Hope they do. 2 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, being given $90 million guaranteed. What a bargain. Blackbird says that's true, Strider. Moed says relax on the preseason games, aka Bo Nix equals Bo Callahan. That was a good one. I like that one. Strider says, how dare you bash Joe Shane? He's doing his best with everything will work out. Tim, I'm just kidding. Hope everything works out. I hope everything works out as well. Zach says, I have the weird feeling the Giants will either be really, really bad or somewhere stumble the 7th seed. I think the Giants will be really, really bad or average. And I don't think average is going to take it in this division. It's really going to depend on the quarterback play. And all those that were so hyped about Drew Lock, and now Drew Lock has the hit pointer and everything else. And now Drew Lock didn't look like the savior against the second teamers last week. Relax, guys. This is the guy everyone wanted. Joe Shane gave him an extra $1 million to play with us. Relax. It's first preseason game. Let's see. The Giants will need the 2022 strokes of luck. 7-2, 2-5-1. That's all we're going to say. Tell me Notre Dame will beat A&M and I'll be happy. Notre Dame will beat A&M. Tell you that right now. Tim, I agree with all of those. Stanley says, Tim, I didn't know you played Madden. I have the very first copy. I'm going to leave here in a couple minutes, guys. Guys, I have the very first computer IBM copy of John Madden football. I had the very first copy. And I was a tester for 2 years when I was in Florida, because they used to be in Longwood, Florida, EA Sports, Tiburon. And I actually helped promote NFL Street 1 and 2. So yeah, I've always played Madden. I still have my copy of Madden 93. I play once in a while. So every year I get an early release copy of Madden. So I mean, it's every year I look at it, and every year it's kind of the same. It's not an NFL 2K5, which I still play, but it's just I'm kind of curious to see what this year looks like. Like I said, I just played one game. I played the Texans and the Jaguars, and I'm gonna give it a run through and see what up. I went on Twitter and people saying comparing. Oh my god. People forget Ralph Macchio was paid by the Giants. Nobody forgets that, Zach. We either need to win the Super Bowl or go 1-17. 6-8 winner crap needs to stop. Yes, and I need to remember not to hit auto renew on my season tickets. By the way, Tim, I don't want DJ to return next season, but I'm leaning with you that he's going to be back. you are going to be negative. We are negative anywhere between 25 and 28 million when camp breaks with the rule of 51 expiring. Joe Shane likes to have $10 million in operational cap space. That means we need to clear 35 to 38 million in cap space when camp breaks. You've already redone the Dexter Lawrence contract. You are either going to have to waive Slayton. There's one deal you can touch that will help you get to that goal, but you are going to have to guarantee the money this year and punt some into 2025 like you did last year, and that's Daniel Jones's contract. So the 20 plus million he has right now is a dead cap number next year, which went up 5 million, is going to go up about another 10 million. So he's going to be on this roster next year. Henry Arnoski. I liked Henry. I like Newman pick, but I want to see him prove it when let's see when it starts. Let's see here. What are you pissed? Let's see. I'm pissed that college football game doesn't export players to Madden. What a waste of hype. Yeah, I didn't understand that. I liked it when they did it back in the old days. I also didn't like the college football players, the college football 2025. You don't have the academic infractions and all the other problems that occur. They took all that out, and I thought that was great. Or the NCAA violations. I thought that was great when they had that back in the day. But I don't know why they're doing. Strider says, I hope Sims is in the play-by-play next with Banks and Papa. Oh, by the way, the new kickoff gym is very strange. That sucks. That's pretty cool, Tim. Thank you. I don't know what's pretty cool, but I'm just going to say it was. What does everyone think of the new? It sucks. DJ is barely average this year. He's not coming back next year. Danny Adoso says, our 6-year quarterback is a punchline everywhere but in Giant Land. All right, guys. It is 1 o'clock. I'm going to go have lunch. I should have brought my lunch down. I want to thank everyone for coming in and stopping by today. I think we got between Twitter and everything else, we got a couple hundred people in the chat. So it's always fun to talk to everyone. Of course, we're going to have our Sunday Giant live stream. So make sure you stay tuned for that. I think we may have a video tomorrow. I don't know. I have not decided yet. So we will have to see. But happy wife, happy life. You're right. The wife was over there. So I told her I would get up by 1 o'clock. Mr. Roberts says, I would get rid of Jones next year and eat the cap number and then make sure the room doesn't cost too much. I have to draft a quarterback in the later rounds. We've always talked about the quarterback buckets. But we're not gonna get that. Make sure you hit the like button though, guys, because we're gonna get out of here. And as always, it's Dennis here, Giant Strike Talk, powered by Online Big Blue LLC. I want to thank everyone for tuning in for this hour. You know what? We're gonna try to do a couple more of these during the week. So enjoy yourself, and I'm out of here. Peace, guys. See you later. See you.